When Aorus decided to make an RTX 3080, they didn't just decide to make a standard 2-slot design. They decided to go over the top and then over the top again, because this thing is the biggest graphics card I've seen. And I said that in the RTX 3090 review when that thing came through, and that was huge. This thing is even taller, and it features two 1100mm fans and a 100mm fan. And I've rarely seen bigger than 100mm fans, so Aorus are definitely serious about the cooling performance of this behemoth right here. However, speaking of behemoth, the price tag is also going to be pretty behemoth too, coming in at 899 USD, or in Australia 1749 Aussie dollars. And in the US, that's a $200 over MSRP price. Though for that extra $200, are you getting your money's worth? Let's roll those gaming benchmarks and get back to the verdict. So there it is with the gaming benchmarks. The RTX 3080 Aorus Xtreme was pulling some pretty impressive numbers. It was coming that echelon over that of a standard 3080, even that of the Founders and that of the previous Vulcan that I've tested here at the channel. But it was using more power, and this is one thing that's important to note. The power consumption numbers from the wall, I had to double check them because they were pretty high. They're the highest I've seen for a card out of the box here at the studio. Though on the flip side, when I did manually overclock this GPU, I got even yet more performance out of it, to the point where it was coming close to that of an RTX 3090. And if you are into undervolting and dropping the temperatures and the noise, then this thing did undervolt exceptionally well, dropping over 130 watts, and then from the wall, roughly about 140 watts from the wall when we did indeed undervolt it. However, the performance did drop to around 6 to 7% in the gaming benchmark numbers. Though temperatures and noise, this thing right here, you can put it on your shoulder because it's that big. When we look at the out-of-the-box noise that this thing was generating in 29 degrees C ambient environment here, it was spinning up to 79% auto fan speeds out of the box, getting 66 degrees. And this was, I'm gonna say, this is the quietest 79% I've ever heard from any graphics card in my life. I was surprised, the noise was quite low at 40 decibels for this fan speed. Then if we dropped it down to 60%, the card did start thermal throttling. However, it did drop the noise down to 31 decibels. So if you do want to undervolt your graphics card, and you do love very low amounts of noise, and say for instance you're getting like an H115i RGB Platinum, and you want a super quiet PC, then this card will do the job if you want to undervolt it. So I was kind of surprised at that, though out of the box, if you manually set it to 60%, it's going to thermal throttle. And then if you up it to 80%, you're going to get 1 degree less and similar noise. Then 100%, the noise does ramp up significantly into the 50 decibel zone, but it does drop the temperatures down quite a bit. Though what you will see here is when I do test these temperatures, I do delta adjust them to compare them to all the other cards that I've got around here. So the cooling, the performance, and the numbers, they all check out. Though something else that the Aorus does, and something that I've liked about, I guess, the Aorus lineup of graphics cards in general, is that they add a heap of extra outputs here for the cards. And you've got here 3 DisplayPort 1.4s and then 2 HDMI 2.1s, those being the outer two, and then the middle one is an HDMI 2. So Aorus do an excellent job, and they always have done an excellent job in terms of giving more outputs on their graphics cards. Moving over to the side of the card, we got 3 PCIe 8-pin ins. Then below that, we've got an LCD screen. Aorus are calling this LCD Edge View, and you can program this with a custom image, custom text. You can make the text smaller, bigger, and they've also got 6 different RGB zones throughout the card, which you can all customize in their software. And I will say that I do like the custom text that Aorus have introduced here. I thought it didn't look tacky at all, and it looked quite neat, and it matched the rest of the text on the card that was hard printed. However, if you are feeling a little bit adventurous, then you can also upload animated GIFs and display them on the screen too. And then at the rear, the last thing to go over is they've got the drill holes here if you want to install a bracket to stop GPU sag too. Though on that note of backplates and GPU sag, I noticed when I was mounting this into a case that it was actually holding up very well. It wasn't sagging from the get-go. So they've put a really good backplate that is sturdy and isn't going to sag, at least not as quickly over time as some graphics cards that you get in. I've seen some cards in the past, as soon as you put them in, they just start to wobble down, and it does sort of, if you're a little bit OCD like me with symmetry, it does sort of it just looks a little bit off. But this doesn't have that, so it's a good thing. Though with all that out of the way, it's finally conclusion time, where this card right here, you also get a toy. And dual BIOS, and also a 4-year warranty. So they've come in with this card at the premium end of the market. And the funny thing is it's also $50 more expensive than the Strix. And is it a better choice than the Strix? Well, that depends if you need the LCD screen, but I will say one thing, the performance here was pretty much maximum for an RTX 3080. I haven't tested the Strix personally, but I don't think it's going to get much more better than this, but it's not going to get much more power hungry too, because this thing does use up extra power. And we're going to stop that right now and say, look, if you're going to buy this thing and get it out of the box because you want the best performing 3080 out there, then this thing will juice more power. So you will want to have really good airflow inside your case to accommodate for that extra heat. So in a nutshell, when it comes to cards like this, RTX 3080s that come over that MSRP, I look for, is there anything wrong with this card? And to be fair, it's not going to be the best value for money play, but I think Aorus have definitely nailed the design of this card. Everything from top to bottom is simply premium. My only critique, however, of this Aorus Xtreme Edition is that silent BIOS. When I started testing it, I went through a few different numbers and the performance was quite low, especially versus the power consumption and especially versus that of undervolting. So if it's any feedback to Gigabyte, I'd like to see them rework this silent BIOS and then maybe re-release a firmware update, because I know a lot of people out there will appreciate the lower noise profile, especially since this card is more than capable of providing that, and really utilize the behemoth cooler for making less noise. The extra outputs are also really handy if you're going with an office setup off of one graphics card, but you do everything on that one GPU and then you game in your free time. So Aorus RTX 3080 Xtreme Edition, this is that card for someone who wants the best, but at the same time, they're also prepared to pay for it. And whether you're prepared to pay for it, that's your answer. Is what I've shown here in the video worth it for you? Hope this has helped out in making that decision. And if you guys enjoyed today's video, hit that like button, Aorus for us. And let us know in the comment section below what you think of this behemoth right here. Love reading your thoughts and opinions, as always, just like this question of the day here. And it comes from Leandro Martin Peralta, and they ask, I got a GTX 750 for $10 New Zealand. Is it a good deal? XD. And I think from the XD smiley face, you know that that was a good deal. GTX 750 for $9.50 Aussie cents and $7 US. You're sure in a good deal. Do you want to sell that deal to me perhaps? And then I can get the XD face on as well. Hope that answers that question. And if you guys have stayed this far and you're enjoying that tech yes content, be sure to hit that sub button, ring that bell on the way out, and I'll see you in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye.